What's going on, guys? Avin Necro here, bringing a updated Army of the Dead build, and I basically wanted to apologize for my toxic behavior to any of my fellow goons or the Xbox community. I was out of touch with Necro, kind of lost my my playstyle, but I have once again brought it back, and I'm making it work. So I updated the Army of the Dead build to better suit the needs of the Necro this patch because of the Blast Bones morph changes, and basically I just wanted to make it more viable and even a little bit stronger in a way. So looking at our character sheet, we have, these are all unbuffed stats. Actually did forget to go grab, I changed a piece of jewelry to Bloodthirsty to make the build a little bit better, so let me grab that real quick.
Yes?
No, not the merchant, come on. There it is, our potentates. I noticed that my stars were white, they are not gold. All clean? Good job. So looking at our character sheet here, these are unbuffed stats. It's kind of the same, minus the Bloodthirsty change, but the skills are a little bit different, and our champion points are a little bit different too. But I mainly do BGs, so champion points are irrelevant. You know, you guys see a lot of my clips do BGs, and sometimes open world, sometimes Imperial City, but I mainly do no CP, so that's kind of how I play around it, but you can also just change the CP to fit your playstyle better too. 64 points into Magicka. Jules and Misrule, it's my favorite food just because we do a lot of dodge rolling. Stamina is important, so. And the Levermunda still, because we don't have that much penetration due to the heavy armor. Stage 3 Vampire, and we are an Imperial. Looking at our gear here, Lightning Staff and Potentate still. Gear's still the same as the previous build. So we're using Potentates, Nobility of Decay, Dragon for the ult cost. You can see at the bottom, it's our Army of the Dead build. So everything's the same except I changed my necklace from healthy, since our health really isn't that much of an issue. We are tanky the lower the health we are. I switched this to Bloodthirsty just because Necro does lack the execute, so this will help us finish enemies off whenever we are in a pinch. On top of that, this will also synergize well with our new spammable that we're going to be using, and I'll get to that when we get to our skills, and then the other two are infused. Big thing to know about this build, for those that are new to the Army of the Dead build, this is updated, but Mark and Ring of Majesty is the mythic of choice. I don't suggest using a different mythic on this build because of the bonus that we get from this wearing 3 sets. Current bonus, 300 weapon and spell damage and 3,500 additional armor. That is because we are wearing 3 different sets. We have Helmet of the Dragon, well, Akavari Dragon Guard on all the body pieces. Nobility of Decay is on the back bar, and then Potentates is a 3-piece that is ran on the front bar. Potentates is really slept on. It's not only reducing the damage from enemy players, but that ult cost is so noticeable that it is a game changer for the Necro. Not even for the Last Bones ultimate, but the cost of the Colossus is also like comparable to Dawnbreaker. It's about 126, maybe 130, if that. So its uptime is huge, and you can just keep major vulnerability on players at all times. Poisons are irrelevant. Play how you like. I like the double dot on the front bar. Necro has the updated, or not updated, but the increased dot damage as their passives, and then just a hindering poison on the back bar. You don't have to have poisons. You can use your enchants if you want. I just happen to throw poisons on because I have them. Looking into the skills real quick. So same thing as before. It's a little bit different, but like I said, it's an updated build for the patch Thalia. I don't remember how to pronounce it. Update 41. So Mystic Siphon, it's a free skill. It does a whole bunch of things. A little bit of a dot. It can tether to yourself with Nobility of Decay. It's going to give you good recovery across the board, increase your damage done by 3%, and another passive that the Necro has, it increases your penetration while this skill is up too. And it's free, so 4 in 1. This is our debuff. Of course, it's kind of funny too. I don't know if people have noticed this, but this can actually be a spammable. You can just tap this and just spam. It's free skill and it just does free damage. So I don't know if that's necessarily an exploit or what, but I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, it's going to give us our Major Breach, very important in PvP. And then, of course, the status effects every 7.5 seconds. Skeletal Arcanist, I really wish this guy did more. It's kind of a flex spot, but I particularly like it because it does serve a purpose for not only a corpse, but it does a little bit of damage too. In outnumbered situations, it's going to do AoE damage. So everybody's going to take some shock damage, not just a single target, but you could use the other morph if you want to. It does slightly more damage, but I like to have damage on everyone at all times. Alright, so this is where we switch it up a little bit. Our old spammable used to be Crushing Weapon, and that was in the Sigic tree. Crushing Weapon did two things. It was our spammable, and it was our Major Breach debuff. But the way that I swapped it out is our pots are going to give us our Major Sorcery buff and our critical, instead of having Inner Light on the bar and degen where Elemental Susceptibility is now. So I removed those two skills to give us basically two free skills that do, you know, a significant amount of pressure and debuffs and what have you. And I moved those buffs onto a pot. Now, stamina is not really that huge of an issue because Blighted Blast Moans does cost so little. So 16/16 with our armor buff on, and then that even drops down to about 800, 900 stamina cost with the reusable parts passive. So stam is not an issue at all. But back to what I was saying with Arterial Burst. This got a little bit of a buff now that it's doing the hemorrhaging status effect. So with that being said, it costs less than Crushing Weapon, and it's also magic, what have you. Deals 33% more damage based on our missing health, and if it's under 50% health, it's always going to crit. So before, I noticed that my health was generally always... It was never full, but I never really paid attention to what percent it was necessarily at. When I'm running around and I'm fighting people, my health stays in the lower half of its of itself. So my health generally, if you're looking at this, just pretend this is my health bar. My health bar usually stays on the lower half, always below 50%, generally in the lower area, and I can stay tanky while offensive because of my passives and my sets. So my spammable is going to do a tremendous amount of damage on top of the hemorrhaging status effect, just doing even more damage. So with that being said, I can survive at lower health and do more damage the lower health that I get. Because of my sets, we're wearing 5 heavy, 1 light, 1 medium. So our tankiness is there, but we always lacked damage in the last patch. So if you look at our sets, we have the Nobility of Decay, which, based on our health, we get 12% reduced damage. Okay? Necro is tanky by itself, and now we have a set that does reduced damage by 12%. We're wearing heavy armor. Look at our skills. Here's another 10% from Major Protection. Spirit Guardian does another 10%. We have 55% damage mitigation with this build. 55%. And that uptime is up quite a bit. Not on top of, not including Agony Totem here too, which is minor protection. So we have major and minor protection, so 55% damage mitigation. Since we have basically less than 50% health all the time, that's just kind of like where we live at. It sounds funny to say on a Necro. our arterial burst is going to be doing crit damage basically all the time. And I'll show you a couple of clips here with a duel of a guildie that offered to be in the build video. You can pay attention to the numbers. You can see how my spammable is basically critting at all times. On top of the dot from Ellie's susceptibility, on top of the Skeletal Arcanist dot, on top of Blighted Blast Bones that's doing major and minor defile. And all of these things just work so well together that it's basically the new... I guess it's my meta. It's not really Necro meta, but this is my new meta. I've played it a lot like this. I did a few more testing videos. I can show a couple more clips. And it's my most comfortable way to get by. Not even get by. I guess that's more of a crippled way to say Necromancer isn't the... I mean, it's not secret. Necro is the worst PvP class, but... this is my favorite way to play now. It's the best build I could go to. I have a stack of 5 where I go back and forth between Stam and Magic. This is my favorite playstyle. So, enough ramble. So Arterial Burst, that's how that works. Blighted Blast Bones, we used to use Stalking, but like I said, does major and minor. And now it affects shield strength. So all you Arcanists out there, I have my eye on you. And then, of course, Animate Blast Bones, that's our... ultimate. Army of the Dead. Back bar, talked about Dead in Pain, gives us our major protection, gives us ultimate so we can have our Animate Blast Bones up about every 30 seconds if we time it right. Also notice the cost, 236. Hello. Resistant Flesh, our burst heal. I never noticed that if you look at this, it also affects your damage shield strength. So if you have to happen to be a Necromancer that uses damage shields, keep that in mind. Agony Totem, this is our new way to fear enemies. The fear is OP. I happen to think that it is very slept on, and I like the way that it operates a lot. People just either forget that it's there or they don't see it at all. I don't really know what the answer is, but it works in my favor quite a bit. Especially when you summon your Animate Blast Bones and then the target gets feared, they take 4 Blast Bones to the face. So, it's a lot of fun. Summoning Armor, it's going to decrease our Spirit Guardian, our Blast Bones, and our Skeletal Arcanist cost by 15%. And then, of course, Spirit Guardian. This is a Flex Spot 2. I keep Ravenous Goliath on the bar because of Nobility and Decay. We have 1, 2... 3, 4, so that's 8% damage mitigation. Not damage mitigation. I'm getting ahead of myself here. That is 8%, 8 seconds of our... Why can't I talk? Reduces the cooldown by 8 seconds. Sorry. I got my little toddler here. She's distracting me. Yeah, so 8 seconds, so 12 seconds is the is your cooldown. I think it tells you too, right? 16 seconds, favor, increase healing, 26 can be every 20 seconds reduced by 2 for each Bone Tyrant ability slot. Yeah, so 8, yeah. So that's how that works. Alright. Jumping into our champion points here. Champion points, Fighting Finesse, increasing our crit damage and critical healing. Force of Nature, it's going to increase our penetration by every negative effect that they have on them. Or status effect, I should say. This goes huge just because of the status effect changes. I don't necessarily know if it's the status effects that you apply or if it's just how many they have on them. Regardless, if they don't cleanse it, they're going to have a lot of penetration for you to have. Master in Arms, direct damage, and then Untamed Aggression, just to increase our weapon and spell damage. Just a little bit, just because it helps not only our damage output, but it also goes for our healing too. Red Tree, Boundless Vitality, love the max health. Sustained by Suffering, Pain's Refuge, and Celerity. Green Tree doesn't matter, but if you want to see what I have, Brashener, Liquid Efficiency, Gifted Rider, Steed's Blessing. Alright, that wraps up the build video. Like I said, I'm going to attach a couple of clips to it too, just to show you the build in action. This is an updated version of the original Army of the Dead build, so if you want to go to my channel, check out what I was running before, see if you like that playstyle too. Otherwise, this is what I'm going to continue using in Update 41, since it works the best for the changes to Necromancer. Thanks again, guys. I will see you in BGs if you're on Xbox. Otherwise, stay frosty. Peace out. Welcome to the graveyard.